Good evening, Crown
Sure.
Kingdom Cultural Center. We have tonight Sheena Gause, and we have our Grief and Loss Ministry. Sheena is joining me, and I am Corine Simpkins, elder at Crown Kingdom Cultural Center, where we represent Bishop Finace Bush Jr. That's where our senior pastor, and also Lady Denise Bush. We just thank you for joining us tonight during our Loss and Grief Ministry. And we're going to share some very important information with you tonight. So we just ask you to stay tuned in. We have our Sunday service. We do want to mention every Sunday. And if you can see our screen at 10 o'clock a.m. We also have on Wednesday, yes, we also have Foundations with Finace, 8:30 a.m. every morning on our YouTube channel. We ask that you join Finace Bush Dot. That's FINACE Bush Dot, that you join the channel. And you can even, if you would like to, you can make a $25 contribution. Join as a partner. That would be great. $25 a month to join as a partner to get all kinds of good information, workbooks and other information that our bishop puts out. And also we have a Wednesday night Bible study. Oh, let me mention this first. Yeah, we also have Grief and Loss, first and third Mondays, which is us at 7 o'clock p.m. On the other Monday, we have Marriage Monday. And Marriage Monday is the second and the fourth. So we keep you busy on Monday nights. Now we say at 7 p.m., but we Marriage Monday starts at 7 p.m. Tonight we are starting at 7:30, which is the Grief and Loss Ministry. The Loss and Grief Ministry. But it's okay. We may starting back at 7. Sometimes we have a little difficulty, but we're gonna just hang out and we will be on. So we thank you for joining us tonight. And just remember that we are representing Crown Kingdom Cultural Center. So tonight, during our Grief and Loss Ministry, we're going to talk about grace, the unexpected. We're going to talk about coping when life doesn't go as planned. And guess what? Life does not always go, Sister Sheena, as we plan it. You know that. You know, God has one way for us, but sometimes we want to take our footsteps the other way. But, you know, the safest place to be is where God wants us to be. But when it comes to grief, you never know when grief is going to take you in a different direction. You never know when grief is going to hit you. So we're going to talk tonight about some relatable things that hopefully that our audience can relate to when life doesn't go as planned, whether it's losing a loved one, you know, which happens when we associate grief. A lot of times, most of us associate it with losing a loved one, but you can also associate it with finances. You can associate it with the loss of income, loss of home, loss of relationship. There are a lot of ways that grief can affect a person. A person can shut down. School problems. You know, you have children, they go through school and they have young people have issues as well. I think it's a little bit harder to detect in them versus an adult, or maybe the other way around, or it may not be. Sometimes it seems like it is, but we just have to monitor our children and make sure that they are doing what they should, as they should be, and not feeling down and sad and don't know why. So, a relatable scenario, planning for the future. Of course, you know, also I didn't mention the loss of a dream. Life will definitely interrupt that at times where that happens. So we lose things in life because guess what? Life gonna keep lifing, and life don't stop. But we got some scriptures tonight that we're going to share with you, and we have some other things we're going to share with you. So we ask that you tune in. We ask that you like, that you share, that you comment. We also ask that you bring someone else in the room, and if they can't get in the room right now, we ask that you share it with them later, what we talked about, because sometimes it may not be for us at that moment, but it might be for somebody else who's actually going through. And you never know who you may encounter throughout the day, Sister Sheena, who may need something, a word about grief. They may need that targeted word. Just talk about grief. I have something on my mind and I need to talk about it. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So, well, I'll ask you, Sister Trina, since I'm doing all the talking. You have any scriptures that you want to share that may go with your situation, and share your situation?
Sure. So I did post some scriptures in the comment that are related to tonight's lesson.
Awesome.
But the one that I chose for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Philippians 4:7, which is, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds through Christ Jesus. Um, and I guess I can go ahead and talk about one of the situations that I
Mm-hmm.
decided to share about as far as coping when life does
Right.
not go as planned.
Mm.
So the first example that I have is, I'm going through this divorce situation.
Mm-hmm.
We had mediation, and, I was expecting for things to be mediated, and I was expecting for everything to kind of come to a close, for us to be able to move forward. And we spent 3 hours with no results. And so, of course, I was very disappointed. Um, but the peace that I had in there and the peace
Mm.
that I lived with, it was, I can't even understand it. And, I had been asking God to cover me with peace.
Right.
One of our prayer warriors at church, she had sent me a message that morning and she said, walk into the room and command peace. Walk into
Yes.
the room, command peace be in the place, and command that peace surround you and be with you. And, I had already been praying that, but I was like, yes, ma'am, I definitely will. And absolutely, I did exactly what she said. And the entire time I was just sitting in the waiting area, I was just like, thank you, God, for covering me with your peace. Thank you for
Yes.
bringing peace into this place. Thank you for bringing peace into this situation. And so, I was at peace. And so
Mm-hmm.
when things didn't go my way or the way that I expected for them to go,
Right.
I was still at peace. I was disappointed, but I
Right.
was still at peace. And I had called Bishop on the way home, just to share. And I said, I'm at peace though. I'm okay. And I said, one of the things I said, I think I told him, I was like, I know God has a purpose and a plan for this. I
Mm-hmm.
have no clue what it is. I don't understand it. I don't understand why. I said, but I trust him.
Yes.
And
That's it.
so that was that was the thing for me. And that was my way of coping. Like I truly I just felt a peace that I just really cannot explain. Um, and
And that's
so
what God does. So you knew it was God and it
yes,
wasn't
I
anything in him
nobody
you were
but
doing.
God, because if it
Yes.
was me, I would have been crying probably and in a tizzy and, and just like, why is this still going on? But no,
Yeah.
I was completely at peace.
And that's the joy of knowing God. We talk about salvation. We talking about knowing God in the midst of what we're going through. And some people, they say, well, you still got to go through things. And that's true. But when we go through things, we have hope. We can call on God for peace. We can call on for love. We can
Yes.
call on him for deliverance, for anything that we need, because your peace wasn't there probably this time last year, not like it
No,
is right
it was
now.
not. It definitely was not.
No. And that didn't come
And I
overnight. It was
also,
a journey.
you're right, right. It's a journey. And I also felt like I said, this is just God saying, not yet. It's not time yet. And again, I don't understand it. I don't understand
Hmm.
why, but I'm gonna trust him. Um,
Yeah, that's it.
and so I definitely was not at this place last year, around this
Right.
time last year. Nowhere near. And that's another thing that about going through grief and loss is we can choose to let this thing define us in a positive way or let it affect us in a positive way, or we can choose to let it affect us negatively.
Right.
I chose to strengthen my relationship with God through all of this.
Yeah.
And it's only because of him that I handled it the way that I did. Because if it was out of Sheena's way, it definitely
Ah,
would not have been handled correctly.
it reminds me of Romans 8 and 28 when it says all things work together for our good. And in the
Yes.
midst of our going through the grief, a lot of times we don't understand. The only thing sometimes we can do is focus on the what happened and why it happened and, what did I do? What did they do? We have all these questions. And then we get to the point and somebody tell us, you know what, it's going to work out for your good. We're like, work out for my good. How in the world is this going to work out for my good?
Right.
But you drew close, and also during my time of grief when I lost my son, I've drawn closer to the Lord as well, and I'm glad of that because I needed a deeper relationship with them. Not
Right.
saying, Lord, we know, not saying we glad Lord knows not what happened. We're
No,
not glad.
right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
However, because life was life, and we are thankful that we are more grounded in the word today than we were when
Yes.
that time when the grief started happening.
Yes.
And that's important to get to know God better, in the midst
Yes.
of what you're going through, because when life start life, and you're going to need it. You're going to need
Yes.
the Lord in the midst of everything that's going, because, you know, we make our own plans, but somewhere down the line, something happens and to
Yes.
throw those plans off track. We need a refuge, somewhere we can
Right.
go to and run to.
Right. I agree. A friend was telling me today, we were talking and he
Mm-hmm.
said one of the things he was like, people say they trust God until something happens. And
Mm,
then
it's good.
how do you react? And then do you really trust God? And really like
Yes.
what do you do to show that you really trust God? How do you react to show that you really trust God? And it makes sense. I completely get it. And so like I honestly kind of surprised myself when I reacted the way I reacted.
Right.
Because I truly was like in the space of it just means not yet.
But it was the
And
Christ in you that had you to act the way that you did. Because had
yes,
you not had Christ, and that's
correct.
what we was talking about, being a believer and a non-believer, because have you not have Christ, you're gonna handle it in your own way. And it could turn
Yes.
out being worse than what it was. I mean, somebody might have ended up in jail or dead. you know, I mean, depending on the level of, anger sometimes people get. And sometimes you get so
Right.
angry and then clear somebody's desk out. I mean, you don't know what you would do if you don't depend on the Lord, to rely on him. You have to rely on him for that. Because I don't know, I'm not that type of violent person, but in a relationship you do have some people that are violent and they don't care. They let their anger build up, they fed up, and they're not saying, okay, Lord, calm me down, Father, I need you. They're not praying in the midst and asking God for
Right.
that peace, because they don't know, they only know fleshly side. That's why we encourage everybody, when they get on, to accept the Lord, become a believer, believe in Jesus Christ. Because I tell you, you still gonna have them ups and downs. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be an easier road, but I'll say it'll be a road of hope.
Right.
And you will always have, because God will never leave you and forsake you in the midst of things that you go through. He's not gonna leave you, so he's always there with you. And I know you said, thank God he was there, with
Absolutely.
me.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, but those are some.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the other example that I had was when we lost my great niece. Unexpectedly, the day she turned 4 months old, she passed away. And then her twin brother had to be hospitalized the same day. And so that really like rocked our world, our whole family, just rocked our world, especially their parents, of course. And so, you know, there was a lot there that we just did not understand.
Mm-hmm.
Could not understand. Sometimes now we still don't understand, of course.
Right.
But one of the things that we held on to, and we just thank God for the time that we had with her. And we thank God for blessing us with her for the time that we had. And she definitely made a positive impact on us, all of us, in 4 short months of life.
Right.
Um, and so that's another thing that I constantly think back to, because we
Mm-hmm.
had to have strong faith to get through that. And it
Right.
also, that situation also brought us closer to God as well. Um, I do not like I do not want to keep going through stuff to keep getting closer to God.
Right.
However, going through it does
Mm-hmm.
bring us closer to God. I'm not saying I want to. I don't.
Right. And nobody
I
wants to,
I
you
would
know.
like to think that
Yeah.
I'm like, Lord, I think we're close enough now that we can stop going that we can
But
stop all of this.
Sheena, it's a constant, everyday praying, reading, focusing,
It is.
meditating, on the Lord. When we do that every day, we're going to draw close to Him anyway. But
Right.
when something happens, we will be, I don't want to say prepared, but we'll be more spiritually aware of what to do. I'll put it like
Right.
that. Versus not spending any time with God to get to know Him, then all of a sudden something happened and we go totally crazy
Right.
when we
Right.
believe Him. That's something we should be doing every day, getting
Right.
closer to God. Just when it happens, we just get even closer.
Right.
It's
Right.
like kind of like your friend was saying about the trust in God. Do you really trust God? And those are
Right.
times when you're really going to find out all this time, yeah, I trust God, I trust God. But during this time and in the midst, do you really trust God? And you
Right.
did, you trusted God, said, God, I know you're going to work the situation out, the pain, it hurts, and, I'm going through, and, I give all this to you, and we go through all of that. But what your actions really, really show whether or not you trust God.
Right.
How you handle the situation shows whether or not you really trust God, whether you really walking by faith and not just what you see, not what's going on around you, but are you really walking by the faith that God is talking about? Because He said we're faith citizens. So if we faith
Yes.
citizens and our faith continues to grow, the more we grow towards Him, our faith will grow.
Yes.
So, we just have to be, this is an everyday walk, which some people just don't take. They don't take the time to read and pray. And they don't understand that. And what gives me comfort about my son and my three grands, what gives me comfort is I know the Lord has them. I know I will see them again.
Right.
But if I live and like they're gone forever and I never see them, they just a body in the ground and I want to get them up. And, that's just no. And believe it or not, you have some people like that. And
Yeah.
that's just my belief is that I'll get to see him again one day. And until, Jesus come back, and he will come back. And I saw something on Facebook or something say Jesus ain't back yet. Jesus ain't come back. But hey, you just keep holding out. He's gonna come back
Right.
for his church without spot or wrinkle, believe you me. And oh gosh, I should have saved it because it's just so fresh, but I can't. But you may run across it if you hadn't already, or somebody sang a song about he's not back yet, but he will. His word said it, and when it say you believe it, and Lord knows that settles it.
Yes, ma'am.
So and in your and it's a good thing, though, when you go through, you have community that you can lean on, because I
Yes.
think sometimes I see your mom, your dad, your sisters, and I think your
Absolutely.
oldest brother just had a birthday or something like
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
And you have family,
Lots of
family,
family.
friends
Lots
are
of
good. Yeah,
friends.
that's the thing. And you grieving on, and you understand one another's grief.
Right.
And I think that's very important to have community around.
I agree. I was thinking about that earlier too, because we have family. Some people are not fortunate enough to have family who can support them,
Yeah.
friends, and we have our church family. Like whenever things first started and first started going through all this, we started, and I joined the grief ministry. You guys were like, reach out anytime, we're here for each other, and that was comforting in itself.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
then, Bishop and Lady D are always saying, hey,
yeah,
just let us know if you need anything.
very
And so
supportive
very
pastors.
supportive. A lot
Yeah.
of the church family has been super supportive, of course. And so even, friends, family, church family, I see a therapist as well, and I
Yeah.
absolutely love her. She has been very helpful. The kids see a therapist and they do so well with her. They have opened up so much and they have grown so much through all this too. So
I
lots of
think
community. Um, Even strangers. Like I've had strangers, just witnessing me, not even knowing what I'm going through, or to have no clue that they've just
right,
spoken into me. And I
right.
know it's the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit leading them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of Bishop prophesied to me back a couple of months ago, and he was like, Sheena, you're gonna be around here smiling so much, we're gonna be calling you
I
Smile.
remember.
Uh, and there's a lady that works at Walmart, when I go there in the mornings and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, good morning, and she was like, hey, Smiley, and I was like, oh, okay, this is coming to fruition.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
and so she said something to me the other day that just really, really made me smile. She was like, I see God in you. And I
Wow.
was like, thank
Wow.
you. I said, I ask God every day to let his light
Yeah.
shine through me so
Yeah.
that people may see him and glorify him. And so that was that was the greatest gift I think I could ever receive right there.
Wow.
And so every time I walk in there, I'm making sure like I'm smiling. Just,
Yeah.
but it's a joy. It's a
It's
joy
a
just to
genuine smile.
It is a genuine smile.
It's not
Like,
where you have to make yourself. I got, because a lot of times we smiling on the outside and crying, just
right.
crying on the inside. I'm sure you've
And I
had
was
many days
there
like
a
that.
lot.
Yeah, a lot. We have to, smile in front of people like everything's going well. How you doing?
Yes.
Oh, everything's fine. But
Yeah.
now God has really put that genuine smile on your face.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, and I tell you, because I can remember the days, you have to force yourself and you get home, it's like, you go back to yourself that you really feel like, versus the one feel like smiling and speaking all the time and pretending things, are going well. And that's
Right.
the purpose of, getting help. And that's the purpose of having a good supportive community, because you can share with your community. You can get help if you don't want to talk to a family member. Your community, like you said, your therapist, you can talk to your therapist. If you have older children who can understand and been through some things. Sometimes we have parents close with children. I mean, people can do that, but find somebody you can talk to. A preacher, a pastor, they are good if they are
Right.
supportive in the word of God. I can't say
Right.
all of them
Right.
are, but I can say we know that ours is definitely in the
It
word. So if
is,
y'all
yes.
need, let us know. But he is definitely, in the word, and we just thank the Lord for him. That they, and the thing about it, they always say that they right there if we need them, and I thank the Lord for that. That they are
Yeah.
always right there, willing to, hey, you need to talk to me, you let me know. So we don't,
Yes.
God don't want us to be alone. The enemy wants us to be alone. He wants us to
Right.
feel like we don't have anybody else, and we out there by ourselves and nobody cares and nobody loves us, and everybody else that moved on. See you here by yourself. The funeral's over, the wake is over, everybody's gone home. You don't see anybody anymore, and then that loneliness starts setting in.
Right.
Life back to life again, and nobody cares anymore. But don't feel that way. I want to encourage people, don't feel that way. Always know God
Right.
is there. He has somebody, just like, and I like your testimony that you gave, and also how somebody crossed your path and said, I see Jesus in you. And that's
Yes.
what we want people to see, the Jesus in us, because I'll repeat what people say, because that might be the only Jesus that they see.
That might be. Yeah, it might be. I tell the kids all the time, I said, the only Bible that some people read might be you.
It
So
might be you.
you need to watch how you're walking, how you're acting, how you're talking. So yeah, I
Always
tell them
remember
all the time.
that you live in the life that you talk about, that you sing about, the life that you pray about.
Right.
And I like the fact you, I have to, I say this every time I'm online, I got to get back to my therapist.
Oh.
Which I do. I need to get back to my therapy. I went to 2 sessions. I need to go, continue to go. Um, I have to make that a priority. And I know I
Yes.
have to make it a priority because of the grief that I still feel that happened in 2015, with my son and grands. I
Right.
still have that strong grief inside that something needs to be dealt with. If I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to hear about it. Don't want to see a picture. Don't. And if somebody say something, bring his name up, I smile like everything's okay. I need therapy. And there's other people out there that probably feel the same way. They need therapy or they need to talk to somebody. Don't hold
Right.
it inside, because I always say a lot of times that's what happens to a lot of people. They hold it inside and then it comes out in other ways. A school shooting. They used to call it postal when they used to shoot in the post
Right.
office. You might be too young for that. They call it
I remember.
postal. And now they call it all kind of things now. I mean, shooting in the workplace and in the mall. I mean, it just because people, their anger builds up.
Right.
They don't know the Lord and they let the enemy get the best of them. Someone might know the Lord, but they let the enemy get the best of them, and Satan is sitting back laughing and watching,
Right.
especially when a believer does it.
Right.
So we don't want to be in that position, whereas we succumb to whatever the enemy has out there. So we have to deal with whatever we're going through, talk to somebody.
Yes, I
But
agree.
if they don't want to talk now, you can't force a person to talk, but just go and, at least go get help in this. Sometimes, I
Right.
don't know if when you go sometimes, like, I'm just going to listen today. Probably when you first started, I don't want to talk, or, I don't know. But,
Um, Not usually. Usually, like if she'll kind of start off with questions that get me talking.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
she'll,
goodness.
give me feedback, and so yeah,
She's really good.
she's good.
That's good. Um, but yeah, and I enjoyed tonight. I learned a lot, um, and I hope that everybody that's listening um, learned a lot as well because I know we're not long on here, but sometimes it don't take all night to get our message across. You can get
Yeah,
your message across in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, depending on what you're talking about. So,
I
but we
agree.
just want people to know that God is real and that He's here to help us. And God's grace is always available to those who believe. It's always
Right.
available. He won't
Yeah.
leave you. He won't forsake you.
Yes, ma'am. And I know that God has a purpose and a plan for all things.
Yeah,
Um,
He does.
it's
I
hard to
mean,
see it, especially when
we
we're going through it.
oh
But
yeah. Oh yeah, especially when we're going through things. Because like we said earlier, grief it's unexpected and it's not a fun thing. And like you said earlier, you don't want to keep going through it to grow, you
so
know, but sometimes it just happens that way. But at least, and I just encourage people, read your word, get closer to God now, get to know Him, build a relationship. And Jesus calls us his friend. He say friends, but the thing about it, he says that, but can we really say Jesus is our friend? Do we
right,
really know him like that to say that he is our friend?
right.
And if we don't know him like that, we need to get
You
to
can
that
get to
point
know.
where we
Yeah.
do know him like that. You
Yes.
know, so I mean, I think of his goodness and how far God has brought us.
Yes.
you know,
Uh, how far? So far. He has brought
And the
us.
thing about it, and it's good that you said you're not, it's not only you that going, your children are going to get help, excuse me, get help as well. And
Yes.
I think that's really good,
Yes.
because that's a mom who really wants to see their children succeed and progress because like I said, like I said earlier, um, you have to help your children to get through, help your children to succeed. So So yeah. But anyway, I know we got to go. I was just thinking of some more things I can give everybody. And one thing I do like to do though at my closing when I close, Sister Sheena, one thing I do like to do is always provide a confession. And I don't know what are some of the things people may be confessing, like I don't feel good today or this too much to take. Um, I wish it was me. I've heard people say that. Or it should have
Mhm.
been me, or should have been me, would have been me, could have been me. But we have to always tell people, remember to change what you say.
Right.
If you can't cope, say, you know what, I can't cope, but I'm going to learn how to cope. I'm going to learn. That's one of the things I would say. I'm going to learn how to cope through the midst of what I'm going through. Because a lot of times when you come out of one thing, it's going to be something else
Right.
unexpected.
Right.
So why not learn how to cope now with what we have, then wait till
You
something
can
else
deal
happens?
with other stuff later.
Yeah, yeah, we deal with it while we're going through. But yeah, I just always like to, tell our listening audience that we do need, I do need Jesus. That's the way we got through it with Jesus, and always to make a confessions, talk about how good God is. Tell God how much you thank him. Lord, I thank you for never leaving me nor forsaking me. God, I thank you for being the God of my life, for ordering my steps. The word say the steps of a good man ordered by the Lord. I don't know what to do, what direction to take. This thing seems like it's overtaking me, but I'm not going to let it do that.
Right.
Or you may say it's overtaking you, but I'm not going to let it do that. I'm going to fight through. I'm going to hold on, because some people don't fight through. They give up. And we don't want anybody to give up.
No, we don't
We
want
don't want
anybody to give
nobody to give up. We want them to keep pushing forward. So you
up.
can get the last word in. Um, Sheena, you can get the last word in.
I think I'm gonna end with reading a few of the scriptures we have. So we put Proverbs 16:9. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps.
Mm.
John 16:33 says, These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be
Mm.
of good cheer. I have overcome the world.
Yes.
Psalm 34:18. The Lord,
Yes.
the Lord is near to those who are brokenhearted and
Oh,
saves such as have a contrite spirit.
yes.
And then 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, And he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my
Yeah.
strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather
Woo.
boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me.
That's it right there.
And yeah, that's it. That's it right
Yeah.
there. That was what that's the one I was going to end with because you already did Romans 8:28, and I did Philippians 4:7. But so that's what we all need to remember, that God's grace is sufficient.
Yes.
And his power is definitely made perfect in our weakness. And that's the thing. We have to submit to him. We have to stop trying to handle things on our own. And we have to truly invite him in to dwell inside of us so that he can be powerful through us. And so I think that's where we're going to end tonight.
I'm sorry, can you do 2 Corinthians 12:9 again?
Oh, yes. 2 Corinthians 12:9. And he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I would rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me.
Yeah. I just had to hear that again, that the power of Christ
Yes.
may rest upon me,
Yes, that
no
the
matter
power
what
of
we go
Christ.
through, and
Yes.
that is that's awesome that when we go through it and we depend on God, the power of Christ will rest upon
Rest
us.
upon us. Yes.
I'm sorry, I just had to hear that again.
That's okay. No apologies necessary. That's the key.
Yes.
And that's what we need to be praying for, that the power of Christ will rest upon us. Because we need him
Oh yeah.
to operate and to move forward. Um,
Yes.
But we thank you all for joining us tonight. I think that's where we're going to end. I pray that you all have gained something from this. And those who will watch later, I pray that you will gain something from this. Please give us some feedback, like, comment, share. This
Yes.
will also be shared to YouTube as well, to
Mhm.
our page, Crown Kingdom Cultural Center. Don't forget to visit us on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m., 720 Edgefield Highway, North Augusta. And then on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. for Wednesday night Bible study. You can join us Monday through Friday in the weekdays with Foundations with Finace. It's Finace Bush Dot on YouTube. And then Marriage Monday is every second and
Yes.
fourth Mondays at 7 p.m. And then we are on first and third Mondays. Our timing could be between 7 and 7:30 p.m.
Right.
But our newer time is 7:30 p.m., correct?
Yeah.
And so, okay.
Yeah, but we may get on early. I would still say 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Watch for us between 7 and 7:30, but
7
we
and
have to
7:30.
get a
Okay.
stable time. Yeah.
Sounds
Right
good.
now it's 7:30. Yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you all for joining us. We hope that you guys will tune in again. Again, leave us some comments, leave us some feedback,
Yes.
share some of your experiences, share some ways that
Yes.
you cope when things don't go as planned. Just engage with us. But we love you all. We hope that you guys have a blessed evening. Anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to tell them good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.